All right, let's move on. Nancy Pelosi was asked yesterday about this IRS plan, which you've heard about on this show because we've been talking about it. The small little issue of the Biden administration trying to remove and erase our financial freedom and privacy altogether by monitoring all of our bank accounts, almost all of our bank accounts. It would be something like 100 million bank accounts they'd be monitoring that have transactions of over $600. Nancy Pelosi was asked about it at a press conference. Here's what she said.
One of the pay-fors in the Build Back Better bill that's been proposed is IRS cracking down on some unpaid taxes. Banks are starting to get calls from customers, and they're reporting these calls. They're concerned about this tracking of transactions that is greater than $600. So Americans are starting to be worried about this. Do you think that this pay-for of giving the IRS more money to crack down on unpaid taxes is going to stay in the reconciliation bill? And what do you say to Americans who are concerned about that?
Yes. Well, I mean, with all due respect, the plural of anecdote is not data. I've said that before here. Yes, there are concerns that some people have, but if people are breaking the law and not paying their taxes, one way to track them is through the banking measure. I think 600, but that's a negotiation that will go on as to what the amount is. But yes.
600. So it's part of the negotiation, but she thinks we need to find the high income earners who are not paying their taxes. And 600 is negotiable. Maybe it'll be $700. We're looking for the high income earners, so we're going to start in the hundreds of dollars, which again, that's 100 million. I think that's the number that I saw. 100 million households would be affected by this. That's 100 million. Is that's still the top 1%? 100 million? How many people are in this country? Billions? No, what's actually happening here is who is really being targeted. And this is who they really must be looking for, because if they were actually looking for the billionaires, then they'd be setting the threshold at transactions of $60,000 in a month or something like that. But they're not, and there's a reason for that. I mean, the real reason is that this is their excuse to put almost the entire country under a permanent IRS audit and to be able to track everything we're doing, all the money that's coming in and out of our accounts. That's the real reason. But who are they actually going to be finding? I mean, who are the so-called tax cheats that they're going to be primarily exposing here? Well, it's going to be people in the so-called gig economy, right? Waiters, landscapers. People who mow lawns, babysitters. It's going to be people like that. Very much middle class, income-wise, lower middle class people who get, they a lot of times they get paid under the table. They make a lot of money off the table that they don't always declare. They get paid in cash. They deposit it. Doesn't always show up. There's not a W-2 for it, and they're not always declaring it as 1099 income and all that kind of stuff. Those are the people that are being targeted. That's who they're finding. They're not finding Bill Gates here. That's not who they're going to be bringing to justice. They're bringing your babysitter to justice here. That's what they're doing. Which brings me to my next question, which is, where are the Republicans on this? But I've heard a few Republicans speaking out. But how are they not all in one voice crying out against this? How is this not the subject of immense outrage? How is this not at least a subject of discussion, even on the right? This is one of those issues where I kind of feel like it's just like with the sexual abuse epidemic in schools. I felt like I was talking to a brick wall for years. I kind of feel the same way here. I mean, I can't be the only one who sees this as a big, big deal. The vaccine mandates are a big deal. That's horrible. This is worse than that. Okay, we don't need to get into ranking which is worse in terms of tyranny, but this is worse. This is the IRS accessing your bank account without a warrant permanently. And Republicans are just off twiddling their thumbs. They'll monitor the situation, just like the IRS will be monitoring our bank accounts soon enough. They're going to monitor the situation, and once this policy is actually in place, then maybe they'll hold a hearing about it. I think that's what they're waiting for. Wait for the policy to be in place, and then they'll speak up against it when there's nothing that can be done about it. Wait for the policy to be in place, and then when they run when during a presidential election, then the Republican presidents can campaign against it. So that's what's going to happen. This policy will be put in place, but Republicans won't really start speaking out against it until late 2023, right in time for the presidential election. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends.